But you opened up this week about owners being close to players, and you said in your time at Liverpool, David Moores was warm and personable, travelling to the games, coming into the dressing room, always trying to encourage rather than undermine the manager. But you say if Sir Jim Ratcliffe does indeed get 25% of Manchester United from day one, and I quote, Ratcliffe must take it as a priority to meet players and staff and build a rapport with them. Now you can see Mr. Jordan sniggering in the background. Ignore him.
That's what he did.
What did he do?
That's exactly what he did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't meet players?
No, kept them at arm's length.
Oh, funny. I know you've got a good relationship with a lot of players. They said when they met you at Palace.
With one particular, or two particular players, but
as a rule... You mentioned many more than one and two on here that you're friends with.
No. The players knew where they stood with me. But
there's difference.
I didn't go into the dressing room, didn't spend any time with them, didn't socialise with them. I wasn't like Jamie Redknapp with Paul Kemsley as his dancing partner. I wasn't like any of that
I'm
nonsense.
not suggesting Radcliffe should do that. I'm saying that if he goes into the club...
Build a rapport.
Build a rapport and build some relationships.
Why?
Because I think... It's not a prerequisite to success, but I think it's more beneficial to do that, so the players have an understanding of who's possibly going to be in charge moving forward, and his vision, and his warmth, and his passion.
But isn't it true that Sheikh Mansour doesn't do any of that, and it hasn't made a blind bit of difference to the success Manchester City has?
But who's the other guy who does all his... who's always at the games?
Aldoon?
Yeah. Players respect him and like him a lot. They speak well of him.
Sure.
So it doesn't have to necessarily be the owner. Okay. But whoever's going to be running the ship, which he's quite a hands-on guy, isn't he, apparently, Radcliffe? So if he goes in and it's Manchester United and there's all these problems, I think it's beneficial for him and everybody if he gets to know people and show what he's about and show his vision and his passion.
That has been endlessly pumped through the media ad infinitum since the get-go, that there's no place for owners in dressing rooms, that players and managers have their relationships, and of course there should be a respectful accord between the owners and the players, and every now and again it's useful to have that, and opening the door for players to walk through to create a culture where they've got access to the owner. None of that plays into the narrative that history has told us is not healthy and successful for football clubs.
Whose history? Who's told you?
Well, conventional wisdom, the orthodoxy.
Who's won the most trophies?
Watching players.
Who's won the most trophies in the last 15 years, 20 years? Chelsea, isn't it?
Chelsea.
Under Roman Abramovich. Did you see the players' relationship with him?
What, all of the players?
A lot of them.
What, you mean post their careers or during their careers?
Certainly Lampard and Terry and the rest.
He wasn't distant, was he?
No.
They didn't not know him.
No.
It's not. There's no guarantee to success whether you do.
But your article was advocating for an owner, and specifically in the instance of Jim Radcliffe, to make himself known to the players, who on the whole, players care about one thing, which is themselves and the opportunity for themselves.
Well, you're stating a fact, right? You're stating that factually.
I think it's universally accepted.
Well, I was a player.
I know I'm guilty of making players a homogenous group, but on the basis of the majority of footballers.
Quite selfish.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because you need to be in order to be able to be successful at what you're doing.
I wouldn't put you in that category, knowing you now. There's
not now, no, but I guarantee you he was a bloody sod when he was younger, when he was in his mid-20s playing at Liverpool, Jack Dash running around thinking that he'd arrived. That ultimately the difference we've got in Danny Murphy now and the players at the age that they're at is polar opposites.
But you know what Danny's saying? David Moores was welcome in the dressing room because the players liked it, and obviously liked having a chat with him.
Morsey was loved by the lads.
Yeah,
he was great. He
presided over you winning very little during that period of time. So maybe this love could have been a little bit harder.
No, we can't help it. If you walked into the Palace dressing room in your lemon soup and your orange hair, and they all went, "Oh God, no, this guy."
It's the other way round.
I think it's like this, Simon.
It's the other way round.
Simon, it's like this. It's the lesser of two evils in some respect. If you've got somebody who's passionate about moving the club forward, and he's an owner or he's put in charge by the owner, he's better having a decent relationship with the players, not intimate friends.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I wanted, and not two islands. I didn't want the playing over here and the commercial side over here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the football side of the business does want that on the whole. And the media does like that, because the moniker of a chairman going in a dressing room is pretty much denoted as meddlesome.
It depends what he
interfering. Does. Now, you know that because we're grown-ups and we've seen it for ourselves. But the way that it's played out, Todd Bowley going into the dressing room is reported as Todd Bowley doing X, Y, Z, Z, and it leaks out of the dressing room. It leaks out of what's being said. The culture, in an ideal world, that you would like to think that people that play for somebody that ultimately pays their wages invokes a response of respect.
It made a difference
in the
to
real
me.
world. In the real world, it doesn't. What, when you were a young kid?
I think it made a difference to the lads that you knew the guy in charge, and same at Fulham with Al Fayed.
So would it make a
When I
difference
got to know him a bit, he's
But you were
paying
still
my.
fuming at Kirbishley at Fulham, Charlton. So did it make a difference that Richard Murray was particularly not that Richard Murray is
It
particularly
made a
pleasant
great
to
difference
anybody.
because I was still able to sort it out because of my relationship with Richard.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
you may be the
I mean,
exception
what
that
you
doesn't
have
prove
said
the
in
rule.
your column, and
Maybe.
unlike Simon's, this is a column I read, Danny. From day one, Ratcliffe must be, that's not true. Ratcliffe must make it a priority to meet the players and staff and build a rapport with them. A priority. Is it really a priority? Do you think
Well,
Jim
it's
Ratcliffe...
one of 5 that I did.
But do you honestly think Ratcliffe is going in there thinking, one thing I've got to do is got to get to know this lot? Because it's going to help in the long run.
Put it this way, if look at it from the other point of view, and Simon will tell me, if I'm putting $1.5 billion into a club, then I think even if I was doing it in a sneaky way, business way, I'd want to know the type of people.
I think it's a false errand. I think in a nice utopian world where everybody pulls together and everybody wants the same outcomes, I think that's right. And I would love to have had that. And I'd love to football embrace it, where the leader of the football club can embrace his charges. In the world of football, it doesn't work that way because division and excuses and a culture of everything not being your responsibility when it comes down to the people that ultimately contribute. We've got an argument raging through the media, constantly fueled by people like Gary Neville, that the reasons why the players at Manchester United are so poor is because the Glazers are so useless. And it has nothing to do with it.
No, it doesn't.
Nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Now, if you can break down that wall and have it a conventional wisdom in the real world that actually there's a place for this, but Jim Radcliffe's first port of call should be to have his relationship with the right manager. Because if players think that there is one fissure, one crack, one opportunity they can go round the authority that they don't like and go to the ultimate authority, you and I both know that's precisely what they do in every single football. And there was a reasons why AVB got himself binned out of Chelsea, because Abramovich brought him in to break up that little cartel in the dressing room of players that had too much authority and then didn't support him. And so because Abramovich's relationship at that particular time was in the wrong faction. So it's a very difficult place to walk in.
It is. And
I don't think an owner or a 25% owner who doesn't have control over the football club, isn't controlling its direction at this moment in time, has any business availing himself of which particular autograph he wants to collect.
The article's based on if the rumours are true.
Well, whoever wrote that article for you needs to be corrected.
The rumour was he was going to take charge of the football side of the club.
Did you have any friendships at all?
Yes, I had players that I very, very much respected for what they did. But my primary respect for them was not what kind of people they were and not what reports they gave me about who was doing what and what manager was. It's what they did on a pitch. Yeah. End of discussion. But my relationship with them is I pay you, do a good job. Your relationship with me is do a good job.
I was asked what if he gets the football arm of the club.
But he's not going to.
Well, if he did, this was the article. It's a hypothetical.
Well, he's not going to.
It's a hypothetical.
Well, it's a nonsense.
Sometimes we work in hypotheticals.
If you buy 25,
sometimes your articles are hypothetical.
No, they're not.
Or just pathetic.
They're steeped in deep-seated knowledge. Now, the fact is, if you buy 25% of the business, do you think, right, pare this back, right, from the drivel that the football media, right, and look at the business media. Do you think if you buy 25% of the business, you would then get control of the most expensive part of it? Of course you wouldn't.
Probably
You'd
not.
get some say in it. Yeah. You'd be involved in the conversation.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.